Here, the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is described by way of the light, and this is a reference to the guidance and the teachings which he brought. And we should pause here for a moment just to mention some of the wrong and incorrect, corrupt beliefs which are held by factions of those who ascribe to Islam. And they are those from the...
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Doesn't Ibn Kathir refer to the light as the Quran?
Yeah, there are other ayat in the Quran. There are numerous verses in the Quran which mention the light. Some of them mention the light that was sent along with the messenger. And others mention light in a general sense. So in explanation, when we bring all of the verses together, it is clear that these verses are referring to the Quran, to the guidance, to the knowledge that was brought by the messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it can also be said that the descending of the messenger himself is light when we consider it from these different angles. But in essence, it all refers back to the Quran, the guidance, the knowledge which he brought, which illuminated mankind. But as I said, the point that we should stop here is there are some amongst the Muslims, and I will really just summarize the essence of the belief for you. And the reason why this belief appeared amongst the Muslims is because by about the 3rd or 4th or 5th century, there was a fusion of some of the ideas of the Greek philosophers, like, Plato, and there were amongst the Muslims those who ascribed to Islam, and they tried to merge Greek philosophy with Islam. And some of the ideas that were present in that time, roughly around the 5th century Hijrah, was an idea called emanationism. Emanationism. There was something called the emanationist philosophy. All this simply means is that Allah Azza wa Jal, that obviously this was the way that it was represented in Islam, but the basic idea was outside of Islam, that basically the being which is behind creation, he emanated himself, meaning that he took form in the form of his own creation. And before that, he had no attributes, he could not really be known. So he manifested himself in the form of this creation itself. And then when he manifested himself in the form of this creation, he then took on attributes and qualities which could then be recognized and appreciated by the people. This is the general idea, is known as emanationism. And so this was one route, and there were other routes as well, but basically the general idea that appeared was that, by way of this influence of this idea, was the idea of wahdatul wujud, that all of existence is one, there is no distinction between the creator and the created, and everything that we see is Allah himself. We cannot really distinguish between the creation and the created, and that this really is the secret of Tawheed, that everything is one existence. There is no separate two existences. There is no existence of the creator and existence of the creation. This idea is a corrupt idea, but it plagued the minds of many people, many notable people who became notable in the eyes of the common people. Now, one of the offshoots of this, one of the corollaries or something that arose as a consequence of this, is that these people began to believe that you can merge and become one with the Creator, and that the prophets, or the Prophet himself in particular, was himself created from the essence of Allah Azza wa Jal. That from the essence of Allah Azza wa Jal and from the light of Allah Azza wa Jal, the messenger himself was created. In essence, he has a divine origin. And that the people in general, they can achieve the same status. And the way they achieve the same status is, first of all, to recognize this truth, this alleged truth. This truth which claims and which says that the real Tawheed is that all of existence is just one. There is only one existence. There is no such thing as the creator and the created. Everything is one existence. This is what they call the secret of the unity of existence. So once you recognize this truth, then your goal is to involve yourself in certain types of worship, certain types of devotion. And your aim is to merge yourself into this oneness until you only see the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal. You see nothing else. You do not see yourself. You do not see other people. All you see whenever you look anywhere around you is just purely the existence of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is really like a corrupt philosophy which entered amongst the Muslims upon the influence of foreign ideas. And from here came, this notion of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam having a divine origin, being created from the actual light of Allah Azza wa Jal. This was never known to the Muslims, the companions before that. Now, once this idea came amongst the Muslimin, they then went into the texts of the Quran and the Sunnah. And wherever they found statements which would appear to support this belief, they then began to use them and interpret them in light of this corrupt belief. And so that's why when we read verses like this in the Quran, and when we read other similar statements that we shall come across inshallah ta'ala shortly, we should be careful and be aware that they have to be understood in the correct way. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He sent the Messenger sallallahu with light, meaning guidance, knowledge, Tawheed, Sunnah, Iman, and all of this illuminated the people from their darkness. And so through Muhammad sallallahu who came with this light, who was sent with this light, then the people were guided, Islam was established, shirk was removed.